This is Brandon from Watches on You. We're back again at Wixon Jewelers checking out a very, very cool watch, and one that we are actually pretty late in reviewing, although it is very new. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre True Seconds, or Geophysic True Seconds. Let's take a closer look at this watch down at the inspection pad. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the Geophysic True Seconds. So let's actually first go over the distinguishing feature of this watch, and that is, of course, its ticking motion. Now, this is sort of a watch for true watch connoisseurs, because unlike most watches which have a ticking motion, which tend to be quartz, this is actually an automatic watch. So it's not hand-wound mechanical, but it's mechanical and automatic. So most watches that have a ticking motion are, again, they're usually quartz. And this is not really looked too highly upon in the horological community, except this watch is, for this very reason. So I'm going to flip it over, and as you can see, it's completely mechanical and finished extremely beautifully. You have these Côtes de Genève running all the way down the dial, and it looks absolutely spectacular. And just like most other JLC watches, although they do make actually a few quartz watches, but not a version of this, this watch is extremely well finished. Their mechanical movements tend to be extremely well finished. And you can see there's just a variety of rubies and just beautiful elements that make this watch extremely artful. And actually, one more distinguishing feature of this watch is the Gyromax balance wheel. And you can sort of see it right there, but the balance wheel isn't actually a wheel. It's in the logo. It's actually in the shape of the JLC logo, and that just makes the watch very, very cool looking. Especially, well, really, you can only see that when the watch doesn't have any winding in it. So basically, when the spring is completely unwound, and of course it isn't right now, so sorry about that, but I can assure you it looks absolutely spectacular. So moving on to the overall, just more general characteristics of this watch, it has a exquisite silver dial, and this is actually the rose gold version, so you can see that it has those rose gold indices, and obviously the overall case is rose gold, but there's also a steel version out with accompanying steel features, and this watch looks absolutely brilliant. They really, really did a good job. It's very, very simple. So it's got a simple silver dial, which looks very, very good in the light. And as you can kind of see as I turn it there, it's a little bit glittery, but it's not really glittery, obviously, but it looks really, really cool. It's just not your typical dress watch, obviously, because it's got the true seconds where the second hand ticks. And the movement, actually, just kind of an interesting fact, is that it is a 28,800 hertz movement. So had this watch been had a non-ticking seconds hand, and if it were automatic, obviously, with a 28,800 hertz movement, it would tick 8 times per second. So it would have that really, really smooth, and all Rolexes have that, where it's the 8 ticks per second, at least the Submariners. And JLC actually had to put a lot of extra effort to make it tick, even though it does have that very high frequency, which makes it pretty accurate. And that just, it sort of exemplifies JLC's skills as a watchmaker and their engineering department skills. So moving on to a wrist shot. Alright, so this watch is extremely comfortable on the wrist. It comes on a very, very comfortable Alligator strap. Actually, I'd have to say this is the most comfortable Alligator strap I've ever encountered. It's very thin. Sometimes they tend to be very thick, especially on the Audemars Piguets. But it comes on a very thin Alligator strap with a normal buckle, and I really like this. I'm not a big fan of deployant buckles on dress watches, especially expensive ones like this, because they're kind of easy to pull apart. It feels a lot more secure to have this sort of buckle on it, in my opinion. So all in all, this is a very high quality watch. I would highly recommend you come see it in real life, because it is sort of interesting in that it's got that ticking seconds hand, but it's not at all a quartz watch or anything like that. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe and share. And again, we'd like to give a special thanks to Wixon Jewelers in Minneapolis, Minnesota for providing this piece for us to review. Thank you.